is Hello, welcome everybody. It's really great to have us all together here on this Black Friday where everybody has minuses in front of their prices and we have pluses. My name is Amma van Danzig and it is a great pleasure to be your moderator for today. We have a wonderful program with a lot of historical, exciting things happening here. Um, so maybe I should tell you a little bit about myself. I'm also a social entrepreneur. In fact, my business partner was one of the people who was involved with the True Price at the beginning. And we run a social innovation agency called Dr. Monk. We are very interested in the inequality that businesses are creating in the world, or that we are creating together, in fact. And we have offices in Amsterdam and in Accra. So our thinking is to really try to understand the relationship between the spaces where we extract our natural resources and the places where we consume those natural resources in a different form, and really see like what's going on there and how are these inequalities existing and what can we do about them. But you're not here to hear about me and what I do. You are here to celebrate with us this historical moment launched by True Price. And for us to properly do this, I would like to invite Michel Scholte to talk with us. Michel is joining us, as you can see, from True Price with a wonderful True Price background. Michel is executive director and co-founder of True Price, and he's very passionate, super excited about today. He wants more sustainable economies and he really is driven to eradicate extreme forms of poverty that are created by our systems at the moment. Michel, this is pretty ballsy of you to do this. Can you, or let me say it more neatly, it's very courageous. It's very courageous of you to do this because, you know, in a time where we say we're in crisis and people don't have much money, you are in fact asking people to pay more. So can you help us make sense of this? Because you are taking a right turn where everyone is taking left.
Well, thank you. And it's an amazing pleasure to stand up here today and welcome everyone. Indeed, in particular at this moment, it's extremely important to unravel prices and actually not be fooled by massive discounts or a first impression that something is cheap or expensive. We really need to look behind the price and really start understanding what is the true price and who is actually paying the price. Some things that might look cheap are actually extremely expensive, and tragically, most expensive for those who are least financially well off. So that is in fact how we look at it. So you may think some things are cheap, but actually someone is paying the price, and most of the times those paying the prices are the poorest of the poor. So that is, and then obviously at times of crisis, the Corona crisis that we currently face, the health crisis and the consequential economic crisis is actually almost ironically a typical externality of a delicacy meat market in China, where zoonosis was kind of taken for granted. It was kind of taken into account. It wasn't kind of costed into the actual product price, and that is actually where we in the world now pay the price for. Those societal costs are a direct consequence of production, and we should have prevented that. If we were able to look into the risks and the societal costs in the first place, we could have prevented this tragic event that we currently face.
So there are a couple of things you're saying here. You're saying don't be fooled. Low prices are in fact high prices, and high prices are in fact low prices, because there are all these invisible people and forces and spaces that are constantly paying when we are not paying. So we need to take that into account. Basically, it's not what it seems. It's not what it looks like, guys. You might be paying more, but you're actually paying. We should have been paying all along. Actually, the crisis that we're dealing with right now is an expression of what you're saying. So So tell us, Michelle, because we're here to celebrate. This is a festival. What makes this event so special? Why are we all dressed up? I wore my special True Price shirt. This one is a sustainable shirt as well.
It looks very, very nice. So
Thank you very much.
today
You don't need
marks
to
a
mention.
historic moment for me. It feels like a landing on the moon. It's really the planet closest to us. However, there's still a big galaxy that we need to explore. But we have been working for almost a decade on the methodology, and we've done almost 100 different assessments of different products. And we have been working with many companies, organizations around the world. But what is so special today is that we will launch the first supermarket that actually integrates True Pricing permanently in their assortment. So it's not like a concept or a PR kind of stunt. It's a real permanent supermarket with real customers that wants to do it different, introduces True Prices. And yeah, I think that makes this day such a special day.
That is fantastic. And if we're talking about courage, I won't say it the way I said it before. I mean, this is super courageous because, we're in a crisis. People don't feel that they can, spend that money. And someone is starting a supermarket now where you pay the real price of the product. Super awesome. So will we see a little bit more about this, like how that works later today?
Yeah, so we will have the first payment ever in a semi-live setting. Obviously, we are a little bit constrained with all the, quarantine, lockdown kind of barriers. But there will be a semi-live launch of the first True Price payment done by Katja Schuurman, who is a very talented actress, singer, presenter, but also a social entrepreneur of Return to Sender, which is a social enterprise providing lifestyle products, gifts, and beautiful items produced by people all over the world. And they also try to bring those workers a living wage. So, she's very much involved in this movement. And it was an amazing privilege to have her as the first person actually paying for a True Price. So stay tuned. That will be in.
This is a bit like a moon landing. This is of the caliber of a moon landing, isn't it?
It feels like it. It feels like it. Some people say like, but this is not like the huge retailer, the multinational. What is it about? But if we look at it from in the kind of space exploration perspective, the moon wasn't the biggest planet, but it was the most important planet. From standing on that planet, from that journey, we were able to look back at the Earth and see, how we are all, and I'm quoting a famous Dutch astronaut, we are all astronauts on spaceship Earth. And, it marked the start for the further exploration of space. And I feel this is the same moment in the movement towards True Pricing, really the moon landing. So yeah, it's very exciting. And I'm so grateful that there's so many people watching from their homes and from all over the world.
Yeah, this is super exciting. We're watching it happen, guys. All of you watching the moon. We're landing on the moon with Katja Schuurman today. The historical moment. So thank you so much. Those of you who are joining us slowly, welcome, take your place. We're slowly moving towards that moment where the first payment will be made. But before we go there, I would like to now invite the chairman of the True Price Foundation, Herman Mulder, to share his vision and perspectives with us. In case you don't know who Herman Mulder is, he's the chair of the Impact Economy Foundation. I mean, he's chairing all sorts of things, the SDG charter, the advisory board at the TEEB, the ambassador of IIRC, and fellow of Nyenrode Business University. So he knows how business is done, and he's thinking of how to do it better and differently. Please give a warm virtual round of applause. I see them coming in already, to Herman Mulder.
Thank you, Amma. Thank you, Michelle. This was a great introduction. And I still remember the other moon landing on the 20th of July, 1969. I just graduated, and I'm so happy that 51 years later, we have another moon landing here.
Herman,
Thank you,
we
Michelle.
wouldn't have known your age if you hadn't said this.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Amma. But I've been working with Michel and Adrian and his team for the last almost 10 years, and I'm really would like to congratulate the whole team that we have reached this moment. A good idea needs a plan, a moment, and a crowd. And we have the idea, True Pricing for a Better World. We have a plan. We are now working on with partners on a global true price standard, because it's not just what we do in Amsterdam or the Netherlands. This is a global movement. With this, we have support from the Wageningen University, LTO, ABN AMRO, Rabo, Doen, the Municipality of Amsterdam, and also top sectors. So we want to create a standard for business and consumers to recognize as in line with true and fair pricing. We also, as I said, we're working on to create a movement, and this is, I would say, the launching shot of this global movement, because we want to create the responsible and consumer. We have the moment. Today, the 27th of November, is that very moment. And we want to build a crowd. And the crowd is all of you attending this festival. And we need many, many more to create to create this real movement. We want consumers to make informed decisions, to be aware what they are paying for. We want consumers to vote for a better world with their wallet or with their credit card these days. We want to make a positive impact on society for current and future generations. We also want the government to embrace true pricing in their purchasing policies, but also in their policies. We want Black Friday to become True Price Day every day. And we should use this corona crisis in the way of from accidental pain to systemic gain. I wish you a wonderful Black True Price Friday for many, many days to follow. So thank you very much for having this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you for bringing us these special words, Herman. And we will go swiftly to our first True Price video to properly understand what the concept is.
The people in big cities like this, they always like the eco, the biological, good payment for farmers, etc. Yeah, they do. Please think about it and pay it, because the poor farmers there really need it.
Seven years ago, I joined the Aanzet, which is an organic shop and actually means to encourage. And the Aanzet was founded in 1981, and then it was one of the first shops who started selling organic products. And nowadays we will be the first shop in the world who sells true price products. And we encourage people to buy these products.
A true price is the market price plus the social and environmental costs in the whole value chain of a product. For example, the costs due to carbon emissions and climate change, or the costs due to the underpayment or under-earning of workers and farmers and the poverty that comes from that.
True pricing is very important to understand those external costs and make the market actors pay for sustainability. Solidaridad works with farmers and workers all over the world to make supply chains more sustainable.
Well, I think it's very important that consumers see that it works at shop level, that people can really buy true price products. And then other organic shops will follow fast, and you will see within a few years even the regular supermarket chains will follow this example.
The tragedy of today is that with everything we buy, we contribute to crisis of climate and biodiversity, inequality, poverty and health. Right now it's cheaper to pollute than to clean, and it's cheaper to contribute to poverty than to prosperity. With true pricing we try to change that.
I approached a lot of shops and told them about the story, about true pricing, and they were really enthusiastic. I think it can help shops to provide an extra service so they can inform the customers about the true pricing, for example, about climate change or to fight poverty.
Amsterdam is supporting this movement. We need to reinvent our economy, and true pricing is really a part of that agenda. And we are welcoming now true pricing in our cafes, in our restaurants, in our shops. And not only talk about it, but actually doing it. I have great expectations for this movement, today, tomorrow and in the near future.
So, how can you join the True Price movement? As consumer, ask for the true price and visit those places and buy those products that already offer true pricing. And as a business, get in touch.
Well, thank you so much for that video that really sets the stage for us. We have arrived at the moment, guys. We now have the moment where the first true price payment will happen in a supermarket. So please, a warm round of applause as we watch this moment happen. We might need a little moment to start up. Perhaps we can move on to the next speaker, who is Ellen Utelmans. Ellen Utelmans is currently upside down on my screen, but it's because we are in outer space and gravity is different. Ellen is program manager at Amsterdam Impact City, an initiative of the City of Amsterdam to strengthen the impact of entrepreneurial ecosystems. You are very passionate about impact economy and building ecosystems, and you speak internationally about this passion and about equality. So a warm round of applause to you, Ellen. I don't know if it's possible for you to turn your screen around, but on my screen, you're upside down.
Well, I see myself perfectly.
Okay.
Not,
well,
of course,
then I will...
preference, but I don't know what to do.
Okay.
Put my focus on transition. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So it's probably just me. So you can go ahead. And no, I'm getting messages in saying that you're fine. So
good. Okay.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you for this introduction, Ama, and thank you also for inviting me to be part of this event. I'm actually so excited and also proud that this is happening today. The festival and also the launch, and yeah, I do agree that this is really a milestone. And you could easily ask yourself, you know, why on earth would a municipality be interested in this concept, in this standard, in this tool, and also in this movement? And let me explain a little bit about why actually we are supportive. As you can see, also the vice mayor is very supportive. I'm spearheading a program called Amsterdam Impact, and in this program we work on strengthening the ecosystem for impact entrepreneurship, and more broadly also the transition to a different type of economy, because definitely we need another type of economy, which is based on sustainability and which is fair for all. So we need a multiple value creation economy. And we feel at the municipality that true price, the movement, but also the tool is crucial for achieving this different type of economy. And yeah, that's why we said, you know, within our program, the next years, we want to support this movement. On the one hand, we want to support and stimulate entrepreneurs to work with the true price, and on the other hand also to convince and urge consumers to pay true prices. So I'm extremely excited about what's happening here now, And I'm looking forward also to further collaboration also with other partners in strengthening this movement. And a special word I would like to say to the participating entrepreneurs. I would really like to applaud them. You know, they are genuine front runners, telling us and showing us that it can be done differently, and that it works also. So I'm very excited that they stood up and are doing this. That's what I would like to share with you. I can tell you more about what we do in our program. We collaborate also with B Corp and other movements, Economy for the Common Good, but I mean, not for now.
Yeah, exciting, Ellen, and we're so proud as well that Amsterdam is seeing this as an important movement towards a more sustainable city. So, and we're so pleased with your support. I think many of the courageous entrepreneurs feel that support. You know, they do stick out their necks, and it's always like an unexplored map that they are entering. And with your backing, it really adds to their journey. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Ellen. This is really great context setting, also to see that this initiative is welcome in the city, not only welcome, but supported and also ignited. So thank you. And I don't know if the video is ready now. Otherwise, we will continue to the next speaker. Do you know Michel?
No, it's not yet there. And then I think I wanted to say it adds a little bit to the excitement.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just shows that we're doing this live or semi-live, and we have to get obviously the shots in. But just stay tuned, anticipate it. It's really exciting.
Maybe Michel, before we move on to the next program segment, there's this big word, remediation in true pricing.
Yeah.
And maybe you can just define it for us before we go to the next speaker so that we can listen in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So a key challenge that the world faces today is that currently there are societal costs, as was explained, costs to climate, costs to water, soil and air pollution, and cost to people working in poverty. Remediation is the concept that you restore if you can restore, that you compensate, that you prevent, and even penalize if you really breach a law, for example, in the case of child labor. So remediation is really the most sane and I would say reasonable and even just thing to do, given that we deviate from protecting and respecting the rights of people.
Yeah, so the ultimate thing is to protect and ensure the rights of people and planet and spaces and resources. But when we don't, we have a set of things to do to correct that. So you want including fining. Yeah,
exactly. And then indeed it's about making sure that those projects are directed to address these societal costs.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that, because now we get to welcome the Director of Solidaridad, Heske Verburgt. There she is. You say the name and the people pop up. I love technology. Welcome, Heske. Really great that you're here. I read that you strongly believe in inclusive, sustainable economic development as the only way forward. The only way forward. So it sounds like this is very much in line with what you do and what you believe in. And so the floor is yours to tell us more about your work at Solidaridad and how you see all of this moving forward.
Thank you very much, Amma. And thank you all. It's wonderful to be here. There's so much passion in the room for paying true prices, and these daring entrepreneurs taking a risk of showing those true prices, consumers willing to pay. We hope to see in the Moon film, which is coming, the first customer in the shop really paying for this external cost, because they should be taken into account. Well, I was introduced already. My name is Heske Verburgt. I work for Solidaridad. And Solidaridad believes in a world whereby all we produce and consume can sustain us, the planet, and the next generations. And to realize that vision, we work all over the world in supply chains, from farm to fork, from berry to cup, from bean to bar, to make the supply chains more inclusive and sustainable. And if you go to the next slide, I would like to start with a little story to bring you back to the beginning of the supply chain, but also back in the history of Solidaridad. So this story is about my predecessor, our former director, who was traveling at one point of time in the 80s, after the first moon landing, to Guatemala and Mexico to help the people there, because that was what we were doing at that time as Solidaridad, reaching out to poor communities, helping them, supporting them, really a bit of the old-fashioned development work. So, well, he traveled there, and of course he expected that he would meet some very grateful people, very happy that they received this money from Solidaridad, this support. But guess what happened? Please go to the next slide. Yes, of course, people were quite grateful, but we worked with local communities there growing coffee. And these local communities, they told us, so, okay, so you are supporting us with money from Europe, and we are selling our coffee to Europe. We don't want your help. We just want to have a fair price for our coffee. Because if you pay us a fair price, we don't need your help. We just have a living income, and we can pay for our expenses and live happily ever after. So that's what we would prefer you to do. So that was a very good suggestion, because, you know, a fair price should be paid. So what did we do? We decided to introduce Max Havelaar, the first fair trade coffee at the Dutch market. Next slide, please. So here you see that it happened in the 80s. I think Herman Mulder knows all the people here on the picture. I really like it. I think a lot of people also in this festival don't know the people on the picture, but it's a Nobel Prize winner, Professor Timbergen, economics, who is offering the first fair trade coffee to Prince Claus in the presence of Jos Brink, famous TV presentator. And it was quite an historic moment, because it was the first coffee where really a fair price was paid to the farmer. And it was also the beginning of the international global fair trade movement, which is still very much alive. But what is the effect of this fair trade and other very good movements so far? When you go to the next slide, unfortunately, we have to conclude that 30 years later, fair trade is a niche and the coffee farmers are still living in poverty. So what went wrong? Well, the coffee market, it's consolidated. So all these big players like Douwe Egberts, Nestlé, they grew bigger and bigger and bigger as their market power also bigger and bigger. We as consumers, we paid more for our coffee than we did 30 years ago, sometimes even 7 times more. But the coffee farmers are not benefiting. The coffee price even is stable at $1 per pound, the same as 30 years ago. So imagine what that means for the coffee farmer. They're even poorer than they were 30 years ago. So it's clear, sustainability, it shouldn't be a niche, it should be the norm. We should pay for this external cost. And European market actors are extracting far too much value from local communities and ecosystems. So this is where true pricing comes into play. Next slide, please. Because what Michel already explained, we have this external cost, being the use of natural resources, paying a living income to this farmer. And who's paying the bill now of this external cost? The farmer itself, who is already very poor, or the society at large. So we should make sure that the costs are paid there where they are made, and that we should compensate the farmer for the cost that he's making. So true pricing gives us really understanding in those costs and how to handle it. And next slide, please. Then we come in as Solidaridad as well, because when we now, the consumer here in Amsterdam, pays the true price to the product, how are we going to get it back to the farmer who's making those costs? Well, that's where we come in as Solidaridad, because we work all over the world directly with these farmers and workers, not only in coffee, but also in cocoa. We work in bananas, tea, cotton and textiles. So we can redistribute this value directly back to the farmers. And you see the next slide how we do this, because we have this direct contact with the farmers, and we also have included them in the supply chains by digital systems, and we work with blockchain technology. And with this blockchain technology, we can also ensure that those farmers are compensated directly with the true price paid here in the Netherlands. So, and then I would like to conclude with the last slide. I'm very happy that this time it's not only Solidaridad, but it's a true community. It's a true movement who's going for this true price. And I'm convinced this time we are going to succeed. So in 30 years' time, we will look back and say, my God, now every coffee farmer earns a decent living income and everyone is paying the true price. This is going to happen. We are going to make this happen together, starting now. And I'm very happy to be part of that movement. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Heske. Is it okay? It was a pleasure.
It was exciting.
And Michelle has joined us again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Really nice. And it shows how, you know, it basically shows the power of information, you know, using directed information to, well, effectively address poverty and all sorts of other challenges. So thank you, Esther. It was amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah, I
and
also
we would like that in the future that we will pay this true price directly to the farmer, obviously. But for now, we work with remediation and we redistribute the value in the chain, and that's a very good start.
Obviously, the end goal is that every price is a true price by default, and that we don't have to remediate in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Wonderful.
Yes, very wonderful. Thank you for giving us this perspective and also putting it in a historical framework for us. Michelle, back over to you.
Yes. So I will tell a little bit more about the context, building onto what was said before. Also looking at some definitions. So if my colleagues can bring up some visual support, then
A
I can.
photo of you.
That's it. I think there's more. There will be more than that. So let me start with telling a little bit more. You know, True Price, we're a social enterprise. I'm here in the True Price store in the heart of Amsterdam. You can see the display with some products. The timing of opening this store was a little bit tragic, also because we opened a few weeks before the Corona crisis hit us so hard that we had to close it temporarily. However, I see a lot of people passing by, and every now and then some people knock our door, and we can tell the story. We actually, as a store, sold a product with a True Price to test the system and to get really comfortable with this. We are part of a wider group of organizations, including Impact Institute. The total people working for True Price and Impact Institute is approximately 35. We have a lot of data scientists, a lot of technical people, web developers, so people who really can bring a lot of information to simple pricing and costing and financial information, so that well, you can work with the mass production and consumption economy. And we work around the world, including for the largest financial institutions, the United Nations, and many other organizations. Next slide. So what I wanted to give a little bit more insight in is what is actually a true price. So it's the market price plus the social and environmental cost in the whole value chain of a product. And then when we look at environmental costs, we basically distinguish a whole lot of indicators. And I think you see a total of 31 or so on this slide. These are all the indicators. if you want to kind of summarize them, you can say we look at the costs due to the pollution of air, water, and soil, costs due to climate change, costs due to the extraction of scarce material, and the conversion of land and the destruction of biodiversity. And on the social side, you can consider on the one hand workers and farmers that are harmed in a way, and on the other hand society. So kind of society at large. For example, if you contribute to corruption. So this is the definition of a true price. If you go to the next slide, the underlying methodology, as I already explained to Amma in our intermezzo, basically, how do you get to a true price? You map the whole value chain. You identify where in the value chain do costs to society arise, and then you check what can we do to restore, if you can restore. For example, carbon. If you emit carbon, you can absorb carbon through, for example, planting a tree, and then you can actually compensate, kind of restore the contribution to climate change if you do it soon enough. However, for many of the externalities, you can no longer restore and you have to compensate. For example, underpaying a person, you cannot take away the days that a person was suffering from poverty. So in those cases, we say the best thing is to compensate. So what was the gap between what was paid and what was needed to fulfill the household of a worker or a farmer with a decent living, including a house, including food and also non-food items. And thirdly, we look at the cost for prevention. And prevention is extremely important because those societal costs shouldn't have been there in the first place. And we need to make sure that in going forward, we won't have them. So what are the costs needed to set up an intervention that can prevent those costs to arise in the future? And finally, we think it's just to also account for the legal costs or the fine that is actually in many of the countries from which products or commodities are sourced that are applicable there. And we also add that. So if you add all of that, you get to a true price. What is good to know is that we developed this in an open source manner. So we try to bring this out as the global true price standard. We are currently harmonizing it in a consortium with many organizations that was pointed out by Herman already, including LTO, including Wageningen University, including Rabobank, ABN AMRO Bank, the top sector, which also is supported by the Dutch government. So really there's a huge effort to create this global standard for true pricing. And I think what's unique for those of you who are kind of familiar with environmental economics, we take a rights-based approach, which is really the innovation that we bring to the table that enables us to consider both environmental and social costs, because both are actually an infringement of the rights. And also we can prevent that we basically reduce everything to monetary, let's say to money, because basically what we cost is the cost to get to a state in which rights are respected, rather than just saying if you pay money, then you can destroy nature. So that is really a different approach, and it's the innovation in the field of environmental economics. Next overview, next slide. So this is a very busy slide. Let's briefly touch upon it. I just wanted to illustrate that it's not just about paying true prices. We think it is needed, and those who are able to and who want to should have almost the right to pay a true price. However, there's so many more applications. We have identified 50 different applications, including for financial institutions to look at the societal risks of investments and actually also look at the financial risk that are a consequence of those societal risks. So for example, you destroy a bee or the bee population, which directly undermines that a financial institution invests in, and therefore is also very bad for the financial return of a financial institution. And there are many more of those applications that is not just the making things more expensive, but also a lot on transparency. And it all starts with transparency, obviously. So next slide. This is part of a wider trend. We had a German supermarket that actually did a campaign to show the environmental cost of carbon, amongst others, carbon and nitrogen emissions. And they showed that actually meat prices should be more expensive. So they looked on the environmental side for a few externalities, what would be the cost of meat and a few other local products if you integrate the social and the environmental costs. What was very interesting is that there was an overwhelming majority of respondents from a magazine, Hesse.de, which is a German magazine. An overwhelming majority of respondents encouraged this supermarket for this step. And why was that so interesting? Because there was a lot of fear and skepsis about how consumers would respond to this step. And what made it in particularly interesting is that this is a price fighter. So a Rewe Group, a supermarket that was typically considered a supermarket that tries to have the lowest price, the penny supermarket. And this was a formula in which they showed environmental costs and environmental prices, which actually was received very well. If you go to the next slide, we also have a lot of developments in the Netherlands. One illustration of that is the meat, basically the meat pricing movement that was championed by the TAP coalition. And basically they held a survey amongst 50, they held a petition amongst, and they mobilized 50,000 consumers that said, we want to have a true price for meat and for food more generally. That was presented to the minister more recently, and the minister even involved the different supermarkets to address the environmental costs. Next slides. I'm almost there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Your
ahead.
time is up. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, so this is the True Price store, obviously, that I mean, that was a big milestone that we had, I think, the beginning of this year. Now we're moving on to a supermarket, which is an autonomous existing supermarket that uses the same true pricing. So next slide. What I wanted to explain, if you skipped a few slides, I wanted to explain what we are going to show you in a bit, and that's very interesting. As you see, there is a huge movement on the side of consumers, but also on the side of companies. And I want to show that there's a journey. So please bring the slide where the different steps are shown. By the way, one of the examples here, you see Tony Chocolonely. They already adopted true pricing in 2013, 2014. And on the basis of those calculations, they made their roadmap, strategic roadmap, to go to zero societal cost in 2030. So that basically shows that, you know, as a company, you can actually use it. They transfer 2.5 million euros on the basis of those calculations to smallholder farmers. And what it shows is that suddenly there is a language to bring good intentions to real action. And it was actually a massive, also courageous move of Tony Chocolonely. And they also increased their market prices a bit, and not with a sobering message, but actually with an applause saying, hey, we increase our prices a little bit because we have to anticipate the drop of the cocoa price of the farmers that we work with in the East or in West Africa. I wanted to show you the journey that many of the companies that we will walk through in a bit are in. Basically, they start with an intention, they mobilize, they make a first estimation of what is coming. Then when they have this idea of let's adopt a true price for my product or within my store, they have to assess, they have to collect the data, they have to make sure that they know what they want in terms of the remediation, so bringing back those environmental and social costs, and then they will actually do the calculations, they get the information on their products, and then they obviously bring it to the consumer. They will sell it, or they will provide transparency. So how can you use true pricing into the actual consumer space? And finally, they then bring back those societal costs by interventions to close the gap. So that is the journey that many of the organizations that use true prices that they are in. And I think in the coming minutes, we will walk through different examples, and you can actually see where in this journey many of those organizations stand. So stay tuned. It's extremely exciting. As I said, it's a journey. and those people are taking a lot of they have a lot of courage to undergo those journeys.
Yes. Thank you so much, Michel, for giving us this context again and for helping us understand really the depth of what it is that you're doing. And indeed, first up is the First True Price Supermarket. So talking about courage, you know, it does, I mean, what is courage? There are these wonderful little memes going around. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's rather, you know, being able to stare fear right into the eye and taking those daring steps towards it. And I would like to say that Maarten Reinings is a very courageous person who, in fearful times, let's say, in a time of crisis, dares to set up a true price supermarket where people will voluntarily pay higher prices for products. Now, Maarten is a very special person who since 1981 has been working on such topics and has been working very hard to have more sustainable supply chains, more sustainable and good, fresh, well-priced consumer products that are marketed and consumed properly. So a warm welcome to you, Maarten, and the floor is yours.
Let's see where Maarten is. He's
maybe Maarten is not just human.
His connection is dropped.
Yes, poor connection. Yeah,
he is at the supermarket where a lot of things are going on, and I suppose that there's too little bandwidth for all the things that are going on there. I've been there. I've seen the Shell cards. I've seen the big display which says the first true price supermarket in the world. It was really exciting, and I'm just. It was just amazing to see this actually in practice, you know.
But it's also really special because do you have any idea? Is there any way you can sort of paint a picture for us? What's going on in the supermarket? Are there people on Black Friday, in fact, in the supermarket looking for high prices? As opposed to everyone else looking for the low price?
You know, I think it's not about looking for that. It's more like you want to know the truth. That's ultimately what it is about. And I think many of the customers of the ANZ, it has been there from 1981 already. They deliberately go for the ANZ, for that supermarket, because the ANZ already does within what they can within their kind of control to make things more sustainable. And organic was for them one way of doing that. And you know, it's just amazing to see many of the clients there or customers there walking through the supermarket with all this information. And also now obviously that the true price will be paid. It's exciting.
No, I think it's exciting, it's courageous, and it's quite a hilarious stunt also, right? Like to do this today, I think it's super cool and such an important signal when, you know, when it's sort of like low price hunters versus truth seekers.
And then obviously it's almost cynical to be seduced by these crazy discounts, and you know, someone pays the price, and it's a real nice countermeasure. Yeah, so every year we, at least from True Price, hope to set up a festival which includes more and more parties, so that every year, and hopefully we have like this global movement instead of discounts, considering, hey, what's the true price, and raveling the prices, getting the truth at the table instead of you know, the mindless fundamentally squeezing out the producers and the workers and society.
Yeah, so it looks like unfortunately Maarten is, you know, at the till selling those products, so his connection isn't coming back. We're going to go on to Caroline.
May I just add, just say, the climax couldn't be higher, right? We still have to go to the first true price ever paid. That will be served to you, and also we will still see the supermarket in the first place. So if I would have had to redesign the program, I would have designed it like this.
Exactly. That's kind of my feeling as well. Like the tension is not quite right yet. It needs to increase a little bit. And
exactly. Yeah.
So this is great. And thank you so much for joining us, Caroline Wildemans from Hivos. She's a project manager at Hivos. And you are here to tell us about Honest Roses.
Yes, thank you very much. And I'm very happy to be with you at the True Price Festival. And in fact, I have the True Price roses next to me.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, they're really nice. So I will tell you a little bit more about it. I'm not going to tell a long story because we made a very nice video that you will watch. That's only 5 minutes after my short introduction. But I think mainly what I wanted to say is that what we have been doing with living wage roses is part of our campaign. So I think you have a slide with a picture of our campaign. It's called Small Change, Big Deal. We've been working on this campaign for a number of years to convince retailers in the Netherlands that it is possible to pay a living wage for the women who work in the flower industry, mainly in East and Southern Africa, where all those roses are produced. We've been approaching all the big retailers, supermarkets, and they have been in contact with us. They have committed them to take steps. Only up to now, still no concrete action has been taken. So I'm very glad that we now have this festival. That I hope that this will give them the push that is needed, because we are going to show that it is possible to get a living wage rose on the Dutch market. So my next slide is on the issue that as HIVOS we have been addressing, that is about the low wages in the flower industry, where mainly women work to pick the roses, to make them into bundles. And this is an unskilled, very low paid job. And we saw that most of those workers do not earn enough to have a decent living. So that is why we were focusing on living wage, and that is also why we have approached True Price from the start of our campaign. So that's already the next slide. To ask them to calculate the costs, as Michelle has been explaining. So apart from environmental, also all the social costs, including wages, but also sexual harassment, leadership issues, unionization. So this is all an element of that same price setting. And together with growers in Kenya, we have now succeeded in getting a real True Price rose on the Dutch market. And if you have a chance, you can go to the Haarlemmerdijk, which is just around the corner of the Impact District, or the True Price store, where Michelle is standing. And there you will find a shop, Fleur Monde, where you can actually buy these flowers. And hopefully, so this is also for us as HIVOS a little step on the moon, that this will other shops and retailers will follow this example, because now you can see that this is possible to do. And you can find all the steps on our website at Small Change Big Deal, but also in the True Price website. And maybe it's nice now to briefly go to the video, because then you see also where the roses come from the producer in Kenya. Het verhaal is wat veel mensen niet weten, dat de rozen die je in Nederland koopt, dat die voor het grootste deel uit Afrika komen. De Nederlandse rozenkwekers zijn daar in de loop van de geschiedenis gaan produceren vanwege het gunstige klimaat, maar ook vanwege de goedkope arbeidskracht. Een van de grootste problemen waar wij tegenaan zijn gelopen is de onderbetaling. Mensen verdienen daar echt vaak te weinig om in de dagelijkse levensbehoeften te kunnen voorzien.
True Price is een platform voor consumenten en bedrijven om de echte prijs te zien en te verbeteren. Een echte prijs, dat is de marktprijs plus de sociale en milieukosten in de hele waardeketen van een product. Denk aan kosten door klimaatverandering, kosten door onderverdiening en onderbetaling, maar ook bijvoorbeeld kosten door het vervuilen van grondwater en lucht. Als je dat meeneemt en uitdrukt op het niveau van een prijs, dan heb je een echte prijs. Wij kijken wat gaat er precies mis, wat zijn dan herstellende, compenserende of voorkomende maatregelen en wat kost dat dan?
We hebben met een lokale kweker in Kenia hebben we voor elkaar gekregen om te kijken in zijn eigen bedrijf wat het moet kosten om een leefbaar loonroos te produceren. En hebben we berekend van hoeveel geld moet er dan bij. En die kweker heeft gezegd dat hij dat wil doen. Dus ja, daar zijn we heel blij mee dat we nu dus een roos hebben waar dat ook echt mee is gelukt.
When I was first approached, it fit nicely with the sustainability initiative that I have for the company. It's important that in all of our lives, in all of our businesses, that there's a focus on sustainability. And that is in relation to both the environment and indeed the social side. A True Price Rose is important because it benefits my workers.
With True Price coming into the company, I believe it's going to support our employees, improve their lives, and it's going also to support us in terms of our employees will be happier. So the future is bright. We would encourage other firms also to take up on True Price and get the scan done. And hopefully it will be a global thing in a few years' time.
We hebben hier een revolutionaire roos voor in de schappen. Een roos waar de echte prijs van zichtbaar is. En dat is op zichzelf al heel bijzonder, want daardoor kan je precies zien wat die sociale milieukosten zijn. Maar wat nog specialer is dat het ook mogelijk is om vrijwillig voor die sociale milieukosten af te rekenen. Nou, wij zeggen niet dat de consument de handschoen alleen moet oppakken. We zeggen dat uiteindelijk bedrijven hun verantwoordelijkheid moeten nemen. En in dit geval gebeurt dat ook. Deze kweker die investeert in het verbeteren van de leefomstandigheden, in het verbeteren van de klimaatimpact van het product.
Ik ben heel blij dat we kunnen laten zien dat het kan. Dat we een bloem nu hebben waarvan we kunnen zeggen van als u deze bloem koopt, dan wordt daar een leefbaar loon voor betaald. En dat je hiermee dus ook een voorbeeld kan stellen en andere supermarkten, maar ook andere spelers in de keten, ook de handel, de veiling zijn allemaal belangrijk. Want die moeten allemaal hun steentje bijdragen. Het is dus niet zo dat de last van die extra kosten bij één partij ligt. Die ligt in de hele keten. En hiermee kunnen we laten zien dat het kan. Oké, dankjewel. Ik wil hiermee afsluiten. Ik denk, oh sorry, I switched into Dutch. The last thing I want to say, I just want to take this opportunity as a kind of a call to action for all the actors that are watching, that please take that little step. It is possible to do, and I'm hopeful that with this festival, we actually are going to take this step. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Caroline. And I do think that we will be taking this step. I love how you showed how everybody's responsibilities are spread and everyone has a role to play. And also to show that with such a complex problem, there really is something to do. And see, Michelle has the roses as well.
Yes.
So already it's taking root. It's spreading all around. So thank you so
beautiful.
much.
They smell delicious. Yes.
Honest roses always smell better. Great.
It's true.
Thank you. Thank you, Caroline. And at
Thank
this
you.
juncture, we would like to invite you all to take your phones or another device and go to Mentimeter or menti.com. And there you will receive, or on this screen, you will see a code that you can use to get into the menti.com. The code is 113 28353. The screen for me looks very small, so I don't know if perhaps whoever is in Maurits, you could make it just one screen so we can for a moment see the code properly. But when you go to menti.com, you can answer the question, how do you want to support this product on its true price journey? Thank you very much. So
Yes.
it's 1138353. You fill that in on menti.com, and there you can fill in the poll. How do you want to support this product on its journey to become a true price? Yeah.
And I think it's a very important element to this festival. You know, I often hear like, what can we do as you know, a bystander, as a consumer, as a person working in value chains? And I think it all starts with support. Really, that you know, if there is an organization that takes the leadership, that you support that organization. It can be moral support. That's extremely valuable in the first place. But you know, if there is a store that sells flowers with a true price, don't hesitate to just visit the store and buy that flower instead of another flower if you want to buy flowers in the first place, just to encourage it, this courageous step. And same for the supermarket. You know, there's now a supermarket, the first in the world, that brings true prices to the surface. Why don't you visit that supermarket, buy some apples, buy a beautiful product there, just to show that you really encourage this bold move. And that is what we try to bring to the surface with this poll. That you know, if you want to support, you can express your support. That will really help those entrepreneurs.
Those entrepreneurs, exactly. And yeah, I can imagine that there are some concerns around, like, are people willing to pay more, right? I'm seeing this question pop up. And I think, Michel, perhaps you could speak to that, because you've been working on this for a while, and you know a lot about what's going on in terms of fair trade and also how the ANZet is doing. As a supermarket, yeah.
So the question of whether people are willing to pay more, there's a very convincing evidence. We've done a meta-analysis of, I think it was 40 published articles with empirical data on the willingness to pay for more sustainable products. And it showed that there's a 20% willingness to pay extra, or like there's a willingness to pay 20% extra for a more sustainable product. Obviously, the question is, how do you get people to actually pay that? But there is definitely a willingness to pay for more sustainable products.
Well, in fact, actually, what you're saying is reflected quite nicely in the charts that we see here, where 32% or 32 people say they commit to buying this product. So you can see that people are willing to pay the honest price for a product. They are indeed willing to depart from what they are used to, if it means that that other people get a better livelihood from it. So you know, sometimes when we ask ourselves, are people willing to pay, we should also ask ourselves, are we willing to continue to consume products that exploit people, and that in some cases are even drenched in the blood of these exploited people, to put it harshly. But I mean, this is a harsh world that we have created. So not to be offensive, but this is a truth that is out there. If we're talking about speaking truth, 22 people said, I commit to providing support through my network. Very few people, one person said they would commit with shelf space in their shop, which says maybe something about the types of people. I mean, I don't have shelf space to commit, you know. And 9 people said, I commit to supporting the product, I think.
One of the things that I also hear, like, how do you prevent greenwashing? You know, and I think what we try to do here is actually to, you know, make it so transparent that you can actually not greenwash. There's nothing to greenwash. You know, there's not a coincidence that many of the companies that we work with are actually companies that have the intention to do a sustainable, to make their business more sustainable. You know, this really makes it very transparent, even confrontationally. You know, it's kind of an inconvenient truth for many of them. You know, you have actually poverty in your value chains. You have sometimes even child laborers in your value chain. But many of the companies actually want to know that information to act upon that. I'm not saying all. I know there's a lot of companies that use this.
But the ones that you have now are sufficient to ignite a greater movement beyond what is possible with greenwashing.
Yeah, we have to.
Martin is ready, is queued up for us. So I would like to introduce him because I can imagine that he's sort of excited, you know, like finally behind the screens, ready to tell us about what's going on in his supermarket.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, well, it's quite an exciting entrance, guys. I love it. I love it because this is the
we are in the supermarket right now. That's
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And they disappeared again, but they will reappear. So let me just quickly introduce them.
Hello.
Maarten.
Yes, I'm in. So,
Fantastic. Welcome, Maarten.
Wacht, we zijn weer eruit. Oh, we zijn weer online, toch?
Amma,
Yeah,
I
go
see
ahead.
you and I see welcome. So I have my working clothes. You're nice dressed, like Michel said, but I'm just in my working clothes because I'm working during the day in the supermarket. And we are right here in the center of Amsterdam in the Pipe. And at that far end is the Museum Square. And you see there, welcome to the first supermarket with true prices. And on the other hand is the Marie Heinekenplein. So we are actually between two squares in the center of Amsterdam. And I met Michel about 3 years ago when the National Trouw, which is a paper, the National Paper Trouw, had their sustainability index top 100. And then Michel told me, he was doing a speech there and he told me, well, with true pricing, actually, we don't know how to do it on the front side. We don't know how to do it with consumers. And then I thought, I did some social entrepreneurships I had. So I thought, well, maybe I can do the job. This is a good job for me. It's a good challenge. So I start working. And I started working with True Price and the Impact Company, and we try to organize the chain. So I had some experience. I worked some years in India. I did some work in Central America and some in Africa and Ghana. And I faced the problems, and I know that we could maybe set up a chain from farmers, traders, wholesalers, and finally our shop and our consumers. But after a year, we found out that it was extremely difficult to do this. We could not succeed in that way. So we set it up in another way, and we thought, okay, we have, let's not start with dry groceries. Let's try to make a chain with fruits, with vegetables. And so now we have a chain. We have a chain of fresh fruits, bananas, but also from Peru, for instance, but also apples from Dutch farmers. But because also the Dutch farmers face many problems with the hidden costs which True Price shows. We only have to think about the nitrogen problem Dutch farmers face. And I will take you into the shop, and in this shop there are about 8,000 products, which a normal shop also has. But we have this same amount of products on about 300 square meters. So that means every product has a little space, one shelf place, they call it in retail terms, while it in a normal supermarket has maybe 5 or 6 shelf space. And so I take you inside, and we are first going to the apples. So I show you how we actually did it. Sorry, we are doing with a laptop, but so I am showing you now a ticket of the apple. And here you see the ticket of the apple. And you see that there is underpayment, that there is climate tax, that there is land use, and there is water use. on the tickets. So that means at this very moment, we have only 4 hidden costs, while there are actually more, which practically means that our consumers pay now about 5% more for each product. And today we had a first experience what people are thinking of this price which they have to pay. And actually people say we are expecting from the onset that you are doing this kind of things. So we are actually really glad we do this, and we try to organize it for our consumers which are expecting it for us, that we show the hidden costs. And I'm really fond of bananas, and here we go to the bananas, and I'll show you our bananas. And the bananas, actually, here are the bananas. We sell, as you can see, fair trade, and I show another bananas, organic bananas. And actually these bananas you cannot find in a regular shop, organic fair trade bananas. And therefore the price of our bananas, you can see, is, well, it's difficult to show you. It's $2.79, and the hidden costs are the same, which brings up to $2.94 for a KJ banana. And also, which you have seen in the film somewhere on our checkout, the hidden costs are also on the bill. So I show you a little bit around in the shop, which is not maybe too easy, but here you can see the vegetables, and you can also see the point of sales material which we made. And even that was an extreme effort to make this point of sales material, and to find the right tone of voice which our customers would appreciate, and which how they could understand the concept, because it is far from easy to explain the concept to consumers which are only a few minutes in your shop. So we really put effort in how we could make a clear message for our consumers, and especially also a clear message, where does the hidden cost go to? And actually we selected 2 Dutch farmers, where we start in next year. We start 2 projects at the Almershof and the Stek, which are quite close to Amsterdam. And so we try to reduce the hidden costs there. So while implementing projects, we try to reduce the hidden costs, that actually the products get cheaper. So finally, through prices is meant to be to reduce the hidden costs. And finally, we hope in a few years for some products we can bring them to 5 cents instead of 25 cents. So I will bring you a little bit further in the shop, which is not that easy because we are on a computer. So you come here, you see here in the right before you, you see where we cool the products. I open it just for showing here. At the end I hope this is empty. So here we are in the back of the shop, and here you find all the dry groceries. And so we have about 7,000 dry groceries. And with these dry groceries, we try to start next year. So next year, we will start with nuts. I show you one of the nuts. For instance, here you have a package of nuts, and we sell them in big bags, buy them in big bags. And so we are calculating the price of these nuts for next year's. and we start with nuts and with seeds, and with grains. So finally, together, we try to make muesli.
This
so
is fantastic.
Halfway next year, we try to bring up in the market an organic fair trade muesli.
Well,
So
thank you
that
so much,
is a really,
Maarten.
so, come on, sorry, but I can. It's very difficult for me to hear you.
Oh,
But
I was just saying thank you so much for showing us in such a wonderful, lively way what you are doing and how you are doing it and what it means for you to do this. It's very inviting for you to do this. So we want to go to the Mentimeter now with a poll question. Can you hear me, Maarten?
yes, now I can hear you very well.
Okay, great. So we're inviting our co-festival goers to go to menti.com and fill in the code 1138353, the same as previously, and answer the question, how do you want to support this product on its true price journey? So Maarten has just told us in a very lively way and really showed to us how fantastic his supermarket is and how he is showing people, involving people into the chain. Already we have some answers. I commit to buying this product. So Maarten, it looks like you will have more consumers, more clients, maybe even new friends in your supermarket who will be joining you because they want to buy these true price products from you. One person is committed to providing shelf space for this product. I suppose that one person is you. You are secretly on Menti or someone in the room there with you. And 14 people say they commit to providing support through their network. So people are going to be promoting this for you, and then you will. So it looks like, you know, this is a very synergistic collaboration here. So the idea of true price, the fact that Michel has been working on this for 10 years, and you have been working on this as well since the 80s, this similar type of thinking, but he's bringing that final piece of the puzzle that will really get people to pay the right price. And now it looks like the people who have joined us online will also be promoting this and will be buying your products, which will hopefully also help grow this movement and take it further. So we will now, so thank you again, Maarten. Thank you so much.
Amma.
And we will now go on to a short energizer because we've been sitting and thinking and questioning for about over an hour now. So I want to invite you to do a little magic trick with me because there's something magical going on today. Rub your hands together. And we're going to do it quickly. This magic trick is very special, but everyone can do it. So all I need is your index finger. Yeah. So you point your index finger to the ceiling, and on the ceiling you start drawing a clock. Your clock is now at 12 o'clock. It's at 3 o'clock. It's at 6 o'clock. It's at 9 o'clock. It's back at 12 o'clock. 3, 6, 9, 12. 3, 6, 9, 12. So you're drawing your clock, right? So keep drawing your clock on the ceiling. Now, as you're drawing your clock, keep doing the same movement, but just bring your arm down. Bring your arm down. Keep smiling. Bring your arm down. Bring your arm down. Keep doing the same thing. Now look at your clock. Look at your clock. What's going on with your clock? What's going on with your clock? Oh my goodness, it's going counterclockwise. You didn't do anything different, but your clock is going counterclockwise. Now, it's a silly little magic trick, but really to make a point that with true pricing, what we're really trying to get people to do is change their perspective. Low prices are not low prices. Someone is paying for that low price. So true price is inviting you to change your perspective and get involved with the movement and really stop the exploitation of people and planet and all living beings on the planet. Michel wants to say something.
No, I just...
you were still processing the magic trick.
I am like, whoa, I think I like my digital clock for a reason. It's not so confusing. No, but like, I would like to stress that, you know, we are not proposing to not have low prices. We actually like to have, purchase power. And we think it's a good thing that you have like a healthy competition. among suppliers, and that prices are kind of disciplined to not kind of be outrageously high, and that people are able to have sufficient spending power. So I think that is something we actually want. However, we think it's very perverse that it's cheaper to pollute than to clean. It's cheaper to exploit than to respect the rights of workers. And we think if you price that actually in, then ultimately the total cost, including cost for society, will be much lower. Because as we all know, it's way more expensive to prevent and restore afterwards than prevent in the first place. I think of all the costs incurred by climate change, by the destruction of biodiversity, by the zoonoses that arise from that, the viruses. These are so much higher costs that it's actually cheaper to have prevented that than to actually afterwards having to pay for that.
Yeah, exactly. And this also links quite nicely with something Martin was saying, isn't it? That he's looking to actually reduce the costs as well. So that we have our next wonderful guest queued up. I saw her on the screen, and there she is again, Mara Franken. She is on the board of advisors for Fruit Motor. Do I say it right? And she's here to tell us about Honest Apple Cider.
Thank you so much, Emma.
A round of applause for you.
Thank you so much. Thanks. It's great to be part of this program. It's just terrific to have an activity like this on Black Friday. So thank you so much for enabling me to do this. I work, as you said, at the Fruitmotor, and we make this wonderful cider. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. But first, let me start with why it's called the Fruitmotor. Fruitmotor literally translates as the fruit engine. And what we do is we try to be an engine for change for our region. Our region is the Betuwe. It's part of Gelderland, a province in the Netherlands. And it's iconic for its fruit production. Really, if you think of fruit, it's the Betuwe in the Netherlands. Thank you. That's my next slide. However, this great development in fruit production has come at a price. The landscape, and I live there myself, when I get out of my front door, I see fruit trees, rows and rows and rows and rows of them. But I don't see a lot of other species. So what has happened is to create fruit, some other species had to go. And I don't know if you have ever tried to grow a perfect apple. I don't know if you can answer that, or for everyone else listening, but I don't know if you've ever tried. It's not easy. Growing a perfect apple means the right size, the right color, perfect taste, flawless skin. And you can only harvest one time a year. So if you're an apple grower, all your energy, all your work needs to go in creating that perfect apple, because the supermarket consumers are used to buying perfect apples. Think about it. If you go to a supermarket, which one will you pick? The one that's perfect and flawless and shiny, or the one that maybe has a little, I don't know, a brown spot, looks a bit peculiar? These are what we call krenkelaars. Krenkelaars are apples that are not perfect. At least they don't look perfect, but they taste just as good as any other. And what we do is we take these apples and we use them to make the best cider produced in the Netherlands. Also, an award was given to us in 2018, and it's still valid for us, at least today. What we did is we formed a cooperative, and we asked all partners in the production, in the value chain, to become a member. So what we have is we have growers that are a member of our cooperative. We have a cider maker, great at his job. We have vendors who help us sell our product. We have consumers, and we have invited everyone to join, to become a member of our cooperative. What we do is we pay our growers a little bit extra. the market price is not very high for apples, and it varies very much. It's an international market, and anything from bad weather to other conditions can change it. So what we do is we pay a bit of extra money for our apples, for our not so perfect apples. And what we do in return, we ask our growers to take biodiversity measures in their orchards. What we do is we supply them with flower seeds that we developed with the University of Wageningen in the Netherlands. That's just right for the species that we would like to have there. Pollinators. Pollinators are crucial for pollination in an orchard, crucial if you want to produce the perfect formed shaped apple. And what we do is we try to bring biodiversity back in the orchard with the right flowers during the whole season. Every time something else will come up and flower at the right time. We provide nesting material. So we're sort of revitalizing the orchards. And what we do with the apples, obviously, is we take them and make them into this great cider. What we do with this cider is that we sell it at a bit of a premium price to get the, so you can get this online, you can get it at specialty shops, festivals, not so much this year, unfortunately. So yeah, what we do also is that we put 5 cents per kilo of apples in a biodiversity budget. I think that's important to say, to tell you, because we're talking true prices now. And this is already something that we did from the beginning. We put 5 cents in a biodiversity budget, as we call it. And with this money, we buy these flower seeds and we buy the nesting materials. So going on to our true price journey, we only did this at the start of this year. And it was quite a journey because it took a lot of data. A lot of data was needed to calculate it. So it was quite a bit of work. But it was very interesting to see what came out. What came out is that we have a true price of 14 cents per kilo apples, and that's made almost entirely out of from environmental costs. So environmental costs make up our true price. Land use, obviously, because of the orchards and what's happening there, but water use as well. Energy, mostly used for storage, makes up part of our true price. So what became very clear and why we think calculating this true price is important to us, is valuable to us, is that it provides you with a list of topics to work on. And it provides you with very valuable insight into what is actually significant, what asks your full attention, what can maybe wait if you have to choose, and we have to because we're a small company. We've been doing this for 4 years now. So yeah, it was also very interesting to see that land use obviously was a big part, and that we already incorporated this in our model. So 5 cents that we already put in our biodiversity budget sort of goes well with the 5 cents that was calculated as part of our true price. So that was our true price journey so far. If I can now get my next sheet. If that comes up. Yes, the goal and the plan that we need to develop now that we know our true price are very new. What we have is a true price journey that started earlier this year. So now that we know our true price, we will obviously work hard to diminish it, to make it as low as possible. We fully intend to do so. We are cooperative. We need to do this in cooperation with the growers, with everyone else in our chain, and we're all for the right division of costs and benefits. So it's great that we now know our true price, and that we can use this knowledge and put it to its best use. So I'd like to thank you for your attention, and I would like to ask for your support to help you continue our journey together.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mara.
Thank you so much, Mara. I love this. I'm joining you on your journey. I think this is really great to see. Oh, look, Michelle's getting ready to pop that bottle open. Black Friday.
It is Friday afternoon, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
There is something to celebrate.
I should have had a
There's
bottle.
always something to celebrate.
Mara, where can we get this bottle? I hope your bottles are available at the ANZ.
They are, I think. We're working on that. So I would need to check. But I have seen them, yes.
I can also check this weekend. I'll drop by.
Please do, and let me know what you think of it.
I'll let you know. So for those of you who are still with us, we're so grateful that you're with us. I hope you're enjoying yourselves and your questions are coming up. You can find the speakers after this wonderful session. But we have menti.com. Please fill in the question, answer the question. How do you want to support this product on its true price journey? You know the drill. You fill in the code 1138353 and you let us know how you will be supporting Mara, because she says please join her on her journey. I love that you put in biodiversity, because I think that's one of our big challenges at the moment. 28 people say they're buying cider. Cider is the drink during this Corona time. I'm going to be drinking more cider for you, Mara, for you. 22 people
Great
say,
sacrifice.
Yeah, what a sacrifice, exactly. I commit to providing support through my network. That's also really great that people want to support with their network. I think this is Martin again saying that he commits by providing shelf space for this product, because it's one person who is committing shelf space. But maybe there's somebody else. Maybe Martin has competition already. There's 6 people saying they commit to supporting the organization in kind. So if you have any organizational questions, Mara, this might be the time to put out a request. At least 6 people will respond if the question is right.
I'll join the chat later. I'll think of it. Obviously, we have loads of challenges as a new organization, very young organization. Thank you for this.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. I think we'll move on quickly, right, Michel?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so we will try to bring to you the actual opening. So we were semi-live doing an opening. The first person ever paying a true price, Katja Schuurman. She did actually go to the ANZ and filled her basket. And hopefully we are able to share with you the footage that we made then as a semi-live production, which obviously is logistically challenging. And we hope we can share it with you. It's still the, call it cliffhanger. How would that go? So bear with us. Let's try it now. We try the video and let's see whether it works. So it's a bit of challenge to get it in front of you. Here you see a beautiful, I would say, beach print. Like it's a sea print on the beach, right?
Yeah.
And
pre-human beach imprint.
Exactly.
Of people, but it I'm trying to use my imagination to see if it looks like Katja Schuurman, but
no. She's a very recognizable person.
Yeah.
Very recognizable. She was extremely energized and supportive. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, that's really wonderful. We got her on there. Are we still having some technical problems? Could we move on to talk about the next journey, or shall we wait a moment?
No, I think it's better to move on to the.
Move on. Don't say it with your voice like that. It's coming. I
know. Let's move on to coffee, and it's a very, very exciting example. If I'm correct, coffee is now on the schedule. Yeah, that's Meine. Meine, he's Mr. Coffee. He's really transforming the coffee sector with a big true price movement. More than a dozen coffee players are actually joining his leadership on the true price of coffee. So exciting that you can share a little bit of that with us today.
Yeah, because you work at NVO Nederland, right, Meine? So you're bringing together SMEs together to really make the system more sustainable. So the floor is yours.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Well, first of all, my apologies for the timing. Everybody was expecting a Katjasturm, and then you get a bearded man. So I hope to compensate a little bit in my presentation. All right, thank you for the introduction, Michel. And first of all, I want to say that I'm very honored to be here and working closely together with Michel on a number of issues. And I think this moment is very good to show the world what is happening, and I think also what is the potential of changing different sectors, and in my case specifically the coffee sector. So next slide, please. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so I work for NVO Nederland. We are a foundation, and I am personally responsible for bringing together around 25 Dutch SMEs in the coffee sector, traders, roasters, brands, retailers, and all of them are connected in one way, and that is that they see that their sector is not future-proof. As already said, also Solidaridad, coffee farmers, they earn a price for their coffee that is below their cost price, so they're not even able to pay their own cost, let alone the hidden costs of production. So we're very much together with this group of companies, very much dedicated to making a difference. Next slide, please. So this is an overview of all the companies that are on board of this this group. For now, it's growing, and there are even a number are not yet on this slide because they just recently joined. But as you probably can see, if you're a bit familiar with the coffee sector, there's these really small ones, really niche players there, but there's also players that are a bit more mainstream. So what connects them all is that they really want to stick out their neck to bring the true price for coffee to the surface. Everybody is doing it in his own way and putting effort into making the coffee sector more sustainable. But I think what connects them right now is the fact that everybody sees and feels that even though when you're working on it with your own company and you're putting a lot of effort in, it is not enough to change the coffee sector in a way that is structural or systematically changing. What I mean to say is that a small company doing 1 or 2 containers of coffee a year can do it as good as he can, and in the end will make a difference. But if you want to make it more substantial and create more critical mass, you will need to have a joint messaging as well as a joint approach to calculating a right price for coffee. So together with True Price and a number of other organizations, we've embarked on a journey 1.5 years ago to start these researching the costs. Yeah, so that's what we see here. The reason behind this journey that we came upon is threefold, I would say. So one is the price crisis that is ongoing in the coffee sector. Second is the fact that without a good price for coffee, coffee farmers are not able to pay for a living income, let alone invest in climate smart agriculture. So how do you ask a farmer or a producing region to invest in biodiversity, water, combating water pollution, etc., if they're not even able to pay their annual money for the schooling, etc. So all these things are interconnected, and I think that way pricing is so super valuable, because you don't extract one element. You don't only look at biodiversity or water or carbon. All of these things are interconnected, and True Price really provides the option, the opportunity to show all of these different kinds of costs in one overview, and also decide which ones are most material, which ones are the ones you want to work on. Another thing that we see that is really a driver in our network is the fact that you see market concentration. The only way in this current market for big companies to increase their revenues, to increase their profit with these really low coffee prices, is by buying other companies. So you see that the bigger companies are swallowing up smaller companies in order to just keep on gaining market share. And this is really problematic in the sense that these parties just have too much power in the sector, in the value chain. So that is also one of the reasons that these companies in our network are really joining forces to create one counter narrative to what is being sold by big companies that do have a tendency to do a little bit of greenwashing once in a while. This is a picture that shows what we're trying to do. We've seen it a couple of times already today. In the right lower corner, you see what is currently the market price, which is the light bar, and environmental costs and social costs are not being included. And we believe that companies in our network are willing to put their coffee in the market for a higher price so that they are able to bring down those social and environmental costs. And in most cases, these companies that are on board are already investing in their own value chains to bring down these costs. And now it is up to them and up to their clients to find a way to incorporate those investments into the price. And where that is not possible, remuneration or other ways of covering those costs will be, of course, the way forward. Next slide, please. The principles for our network are quite simple. We search for the true price of coffee. We underwrite the need to collaborate to create this counter narrative to big players in the market for the B2C market, so to reach the consumers, but also to reach business to business markets, and maybe even as important, business to government markets. How do you connect to the government as a consumer and explain to them that coffee for a specific price can just not be cannot be tolerated? Because in the end, as Eske already said, by having farmers work below their cost price, they're subsidizing our coffee consumption, and that can never be the right way forward. Transparency and traceability are really important. If you want to do this right, and if you want to prevent greenwashing, then you really should shine a really bright light on the whole value chain in order to explain to your customers and get them to come along. And that also leads to joint communication, and specifically important for SMEs is immediate action. They don't want to wait for calculations or difficult discussions. They want to bring it into practice. So we've already got around 5 projects in our network where companies are investing in bringing down the true cost of their production. Last slide. Okay, so expanding network, that's what we're doing. Growing group of companies on board. Next slide. And working also together with Michel and Solidaridad to bring as many toolings together so that companies are able to, on the one hand, calculate their true cost and true price of their product, but also communicate it to their value chain partners, so in production countries, but also to their customers on this side of the value chain. Last slide. All of these companies, they are working on creating their own insights into the true cost, true price of their product. We're leaving it a bit up to them to decide what for them is the best time to really get out in the open with their true price. And Michel and me, we decided just recently that it would be very good, I think, to, in the meantime, before that is actually the case for all these companies, we can work together on on what we call a blueprint coffee. That would be sort of brandless and not specifically from one of these companies, but from the whole collective. And we can use their coffee as a test product to see how the true price of that product can be calculated, and how we can bring that to the market and find as many places as possible where people are willing to put that coffee on the shelf. Am I saying something? You want to add anything, Michel, maybe?
No, it's amazing. Like, we are trying to set up this pre-competitive blue label coffee, or let's say an open in a kind of co-creation, assessing a true price, and basically having a batch of coffee that will be in limited edition, disseminated across Amsterdam and beyond in different cafes, so that really we can go all the way and not just make it a relatively internal exercise, but really bring it into the open. The lessons that will be learned can be taken to all of those individual companies, and they can start doing it themselves. So
exactly.
That's a really exciting thing.
The most important thing, I think, is what we call koudwatervrees. So the fear of really getting into interaction and just putting everything out in the open. Everybody wants to do it. They're a bit afraid of how customers will react and how does the competition react, etc., etc. And this exercise provides them with all the lessons they can learn without making it too in this case. I really think it's a good approach. Yeah.
And bear in mind how many companies are involved. So it's a really exciting and important movement.
And I think this whole thing is a great point about why we're talking about courage. Can you still hear me? Someone's drilling something outside. But you know, if you look at the first presentation from Solidaridad, you see that actually in the 80s we started with true pricing, with fair trade, and there were lessons from that we are now building on with true pricing. So we do have to be courageous to try something out, and if we fail, we can learn from it, and if we're successful, well, they were successful, right? So we just need to try. Everybody needs to join in this movement. Please do. But before you do that, go to menti.com and tell us, how do you want to support this product on its true price journey? So if you haven't done so yet, go to menti.com, fill in 113853. You see the code in the top of the sheet right there, and tell us, how are you going to support coffee on its true price journey?
And then in this particular case, it's the true priced batch of coffee that will be brought out in the beginning of next year.
Okay, you have a specific date?
Not yet. It's like still, let's say, we are still mobilizing. So we're still inviting participants, so different companies to join, cafes to join. We actually have very exciting cafes already in Amsterdam itself, but also in Utrecht and beyond, who want to be the first to serve that true priced coffee. So it will be a very, very, very cool thing. And obviously it's a limited edition coffee. So I'm not surprised to see a big proportion of people going for the blue. I know that looking at the numbers, just a small margin of people are actually going to the Mentimeter. If you're not opening your smartphone, do think of this kind of commitment. What would you like to do?
No, they are coming. It's just that there's a slight delay.
There's a delay, exactly.
Jumped.
Still, think of indeed what you can do. Also, if you haven't opened your smartphone, but indeed it's a crowded.
Committing to store space this time.
Yeah.
So that's an increase in store space offers.
And maybe it's a cafe.
Could you guys maybe make like a true price goodie bag, especially for me, with some cider and some coffee? Just send it over to my house. I can't get out of my house, you know.
Well, there's maybe a nice thank you gift for you. Why not?
No. I'm just kidding. You don't have to thank me. But
we have some flowers for you.
If we're all, and some flowers, exactly. Since we're still going to be locked in, you know, let's just tell me how to do this. Maybe I can send some goodie bags around to people that I really care about. And
and then there's actually a Fruitmotor. They actually have a Christmas package that they provide. So go to their website and get yourself one of the beautiful apple cider and other stuff packages.
Fantastic. Okay, we'll do that. And Meine, thank you so much for your presentation. Thank you for inviting us to drink, you know, true price coffee, and really great to see your collaboration. Now, I think we should move on from here to our last journey, which is the journey on fashion. Hey there, you say fashion, and there comes Sheila. You're from the Haarlemmerbuurt.
Yes, I'm the street manager in Haarlemmerbuurt in Amsterdam.
I love the Haarlemmerbuurt.
Thank you so much.
I'm really excited to hear what you have to tell us about fashion, true pricing in the Haarlemmerbuurt. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So, hello everybody. My name is Sheila Prommerschenkel. I'm the street manager in the Haarlemmerbuurt, and my job is to create a good entrepreneurial environment for other entrepreneurs in the Haarlemmerbuurt. So, next slide, please. Okay, there it is. Amongst some shops, I'm also in contact with several fashion stores in the Haarlemmerbuurt in Amsterdam. I'm interested in helping the shops to join the True Price movement. They already active and interested in sustainability. Many of the stores have already looked into themes such as recycling as a way to reduce CO2 emission and water use. As a Haarlemmerbuurt street manager, I find myself in the intention state of a True Price journey, and I want to help these stores elevate their sustainability efforts further. Next slide, please. As an example of a fashion store that I have approached is Suka, a store in Haarlemmerstraat. This beautiful store, with the name Suka, which means joy of life in Sanskrit. This shop sells quality clothing items made in Nepal. Their goal is to offer slow fashion products from carefully sourced natural materials, which are good to the environment. By working by local communities in Nepal, Suka also tries to help ensure a good future for these communities. Suka is a great example of a shop that already considers the environment and society in its work. My goal is to make all shops in Haarlemmerbuurt more sustainable and make the neighborhood greener. My big vision is that all shops in the street would offer products at the true price. On a day like Black Friday, like today, these shops compete with cheap, fast fashion products that cut down all the prices. By joining an event like the True Price Festival, I want to help these shops show the added value of their slow fashion and high quality brands. So that was my story about the Haarlemmerbuurt.
Yeah, fantastic. And Gila,
yeah,
you know, this neighborhood, for me, obviously we are there with the True Price store, and I find it really inspiring to through you getting to know a little bit about those entrepreneurs. And imagine, you know, there's this fast fashion industry on the one hand, there's a growing kind of e-commerce development, and many people are, you know, buying stuff online, and there are these individual companies. They really are extremely knowledgeable about their products, committed to sustainability, trying to provide beautiful clothes to people, not fast fashion, but a slow fashion. And it's really exciting that they are well open to this idea of well, looking into more detail into their value chains. And you know, I hope that we can actually provide some sort of contribution to their courageous journey in a way.
Yeah, I hope so too. And we are so proud that we have the True Price store in the Haarlemmerbuurt.
Exactly, you're part of history. You're part of history. The Haarlemmerbuurt is part of making history. So,
and maybe one thing to announce is that we will bring in the world a True Priced T-shirt. So we have done True Price assessments of jeans and T-shirts in the past, and right now what we want to do as a next step is with those stores find like the average T-shirt and then launch it and bring it into the consumer space, and then also obviously sell that through those stores. And again, with the same idea of the coffee, if you lead by example, we believe others are likely to join, and you can really break through the barrier of entering kind of a dialogue with the consumer about the true price. So then again, what's the question that we have on the Mentimeter is, would you like to support those courageous entrepreneurs, in particular in the Haarlemmerbuurt, who are doing this? And yeah, curious to hear your thoughts.
How will you do that? So please fill it in the Mentimeter. I see your answers already coming in. I'm sure we can expect a big jump. 2 people will offer store space. 3 will commit with their networks. 4 will buy the products. And 1 will support the organization in kind. 2 is coming up. Okay. we'll give a little bit more time to see your answers, because I think it's very meaningful for the journeys, to see the type of support that they could count on. And I mean, it's, you know, Haarlemmerbuurt is really one of my favorite places to go. So I hope to meet you on the streets, Sheila.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let me know when you are around. We go for a True Price coffee.
True Price coffee, exactly. It's going to be quite a journey and an experience there as well. Okay, so it looks like what you can expect mostly is buying and network support. Those are contending 12, 12, 12, 12, 13, 13. No, 13, 12. Okay. And I think, you know, this is fantastic. It's a great use of Mentimeter to really concretely see how people will be joining the journey. So thank you so much, Sheila. Good luck on the journey. You know you can count on everybody's support, because we all
Thank you so much.
True Priced clothes. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sheila.
Yeah.
You're amazing.
Bye.
Now, Michelle, tell me now, are we ready? Are we ready?
I'm not sure. I wish I knew. So let's check. So the video is here. We can show it. That's what I get from my colleagues. So I think...
oh, that looks like Katja Schuurman's hair.
She's there. So this is semi-live, guys. So it was recorded a few minutes ago. Here you see her walking. It's slow-mo. Here you see us talking, and well, that moment with Maarten where they are looking into the cash system. She's talking a little bit. Obviously, I'm standing on a appropriate distance for the 1.5 meter safety boundary, and Maarten standing behind the plastic, and they're now discussing. So, you know, how did you go through this journey? What were the things that you had to encounter? And Maarten really, he had to go through a lot to get actually the price information in the cash registry system. You don't believe it, but there's actually standardization codes and assurance providers for the information on the receipt in a supermarket. So those kind of engineers had to work days to make sure that the additional externality information was included for the vegetables and fruits. So now she's looking for her was it a
bank pass?
Yeah, bank pass, and making the gesture, and here she goes. So I think if you watch closely, what is her PIN code? No, you cannot see it. And actually she had not just vegetables and bread, but she also had other products. So it was really cool. And now she's making the transaction, and this is actually the big moment where she did the first True Price payment. Really exciting. Woohoo! This is extremely well, and this is also a beautiful moment to celebrate.
Can you tell us how much she spent?
I think the exact amount, and I can tell you in detail, was 45.47 €, because I actually got the first receipt from her herself. I was having this next to me the whole time, actually. I was hiding it a little bit because it is semi-live, so I just ran from the store to this location. Let me dim the light a little bit so you can see. So here you see the receipt. Here you see
her autograph on it.
Yeah, her signature is on it. Yeah, so she says,
very cool.
Towards a better world, love or leaves Katja X. And then here you see the different cost items. including actually what are the hidden costs for bread that she bought, and a few hidden costs also for vegetable items. So it's extremely exciting. And yeah, this will be a...
so these are the receipts of the future.
Totally, yes. And I would say this will be probably something that in 10 years we will look back on and say, you know, these were the first artifacts of change, and really marking the true price revolution.
This is fantastic. This is amazing. Congratulations to all of you. Congratulations to Katja Schuurman for making world history. Yeah, it's time to pop that bottle open.
I think so. I will try to open this delicious not sure how to do this without too much spoiling. It would be tragic if I spoil the krenkelaar. Well, it was actually an effort to kind of fight food waste. So I'm taking.
Don't worry, there are tricks to get it out. Or maybe you need to turn it around a bit.
There's one more effort, one more push.
One more push.
Woo!
Yay!
We can cheer on this historic moment. We now have the first true price paid at the first supermarket with true prices in the world. And yeah, it's an amazing occasion. I will put some of it in the glass and share with you. And I think it's time to wrap up.
Yeah. And to wrap up, we have Adrian. Adrian heard the bottle popping, and suddenly he showed up on the screen. So this man, someone needs to give him some true price cider. Adrian is the executive.
Hello.
Hey, there you are. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well, Amma.
Yeah, so you guys have been in this business, you know, for a decade.
We have. And it's a very, very exciting moment. I thought I would be pushed out of the program, but I'm happy I'm still here.
You're here, exactly. Fantastic to see you. And thank you for being here. And thank you for coming in to close for us, because it's been a long journey and there's still a long journey ahead.
Thank you. Well, I must say I have mixed feelings. It's a sad moment because the True Price Festival has come to an end. It was, I must say, it was the real thing, right? From an actual store with actual products with a true price to actual young people, well, I hope they were young, listening for 2 hours and chiming in via the chat. But at the same time, I'm very proud of the True Price team and our partners who made it happen. And the vision we all share is one of a sustainable world where everyone around it, living now and later, can live a life with dignity. And if you think about that, everything that needs to happen, it can be a bit overwhelming, right? I mean, we have a climate crisis. We have 1 million species that are threatened with extinction. 20% of the global working people are working poor. 690 million people were undernourished last year, while 205 million healthy lives lost due to unhealthy eating patterns. And while we have a great Black Lives Matters movement, more people than ever are enslaved in our economy, 50 million or 1 in 200. What gives me energy is that we can actually turn this around. And if we bring this back to our daily choices, it is about which products we buy every day. If each product we buy will be free of true costs, then the world would be sustainable. And then you think, well, that's something we can do, right? We just need to make sure that all products have a true price. And Maarten is a great entrepreneur, don't get me wrong. But if a small local organic supermarket in Amsterdam can do true pricing, then all stores, small and large, can do it as well. Of course, the key question is, can we pay this? Well, for sure, we cannot pay a world without true prices. And we can pay a world with true prices. We've made a roadmap of 5 steps. It starts with transparency in the ANZ, and it ends with taxation, where we make dirty products more expensive and sustainable products cheaper. So with that, I would like to thank everybody involved, the team, Maarten, our partners, our sponsors, and last but not least, Amma and Michel, the driving force behind this festival and the best co-founder in the world. Thank you.
Thanks, Adrian. Before we close this meeting, I would like to briefly say what's next. So we do have actually an invitation to all of you. Every last Monday of the month, we will have a meeting with the customers of the ANZ and all sorts of interested people to learn from what's going on in the ANZ. So if there are other businesses, entrepreneurs, representatives, but also customers who want to know more, I've seen a lot of questions and also some concerns in the chat. Join in the last Monday of the month. In the evening, we will host sessions of 1 hour where we will walk through those questions, and we will present more of the different products, from the banana to the bread and everything in between. And we will try to keep you involved. And that actual first meeting is starting the coming Monday already. And then the second one is the 28th of December. So there's a lot of exciting things coming up. There will be, and then anticipate on, the Blue Label True Price t-shirt, a Blue Label True Price coffee, and also keep an eye on the apple cider. They will be also true pricing their bottle, so that they will have a full true price, and you can actually get the transparency and also the remediation of that product. So in the meantime, thank you very much. I will join this delicious apple cider. Give the word to Amma to close this meeting. Thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, thank you, and congratulations to you and your entire team on this milestone in your journey. I think this, you guys have worked so hard. I've been following it at a distance, and you put together such a wonderful festival with so many inspiring entrepreneurs who dare in a time like this to really look at their products, ask themselves hard questions, and dare to put up their price in a world where the prices are going down, and really think about the meaning of that. Like, this is what it looks like superficially, but under the surface, there's something way more interesting going on, which is taking special steps towards creating a more inclusive and sustainable economy for all of us. So congratulations to you. Well done to you. Thank you so much for doing this wonderful work. Thank you for including me in your journey at this juncture, and enjoy your cider, enjoy your evening, and enjoy the next steps. I'm going to the ANZ very soon, one of these days. Cheers to you. Have an empty bottle.
Thank you. Cheers. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
Yeah, have a good weekend.